Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Charlotte McClain-Nhlapo. I am the coordinator for Disability Inclusive Development at the United States Agency for International Development. It gives me great pleasure to introduce to you our final honoree, Atim Caroline Ogwang. As a child, Caroline never knew her home country, Sudan. What she did know was the life of a young refugee. You will hear that despite losing her hearing when she was 5 years old, she overcame huge obstacles. When she was just 16, she co-founded the Southern Sudan Deaf Development Concern. She's passionate about the importance of deaf girls' education, deaf women's economic reliance, and guess what? Caroline is only 25 years old. In fact, she turns 26 tomorrow, so hip, hip, hooray for Caroline. When you meet her, I'm sure you'll agree with me that her intelligence, her drive, and perseverance will enable her to reach her life goals. On top of all of her other accomplishments, Caroline's a poet. And we're pleased that she will read one of her poems once she has accepted her award. For her unwavering dedication to women and girls with disabilities and her belief in the power of education to build the next generation, I am thrilled to present Atim Caroline Ogwang with the 2013 Voices of Courage Award. Here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Hello. I'm so happy that you are all able to come here today. I'm going to be telling you a bit about my story. First, I'd like to thank Charlotte for her gracious introduction. It is an honor to be introduced by a leader who fights for the inclusion of women with disabilities around the world. I was born in Sudan, but I spent my childhood in a refugee camp in Uganda. Both of my parents were killed in the war before my 7th birthday. My 7 teenage sisters and brothers cared for me. We all did our best to survive in a very harsh environment. My childhood was normal. And by that I mean abductions in a refugee camp were normal. Losing family members was normal. Waking up hungry with nothing to eat, that was normal. We would go to our neighbors to see if they would have something that they could offer us. I became deaf when I was 5 years old. This happened because one day when I was hungry, I wanted to eat a mango. And when I went to the tree where they were growing, there was a sudden explosion. After that, I could no longer speak and I could no longer hear. I was in pain. I had blood coming from my ears. And at that time, there was no medicine that could save my hearing. After becoming deaf, My education was put on hold for 2 years. Everyone thought educating the deaf was a waste of time. It's difficult being a young deaf woman. It is especially difficult being a deaf refugee girl. There was no access to information, no sign language interpreting services. Often there was parental neglect. Many girls with disabilities were abused. Many became pregnant outside of marriage. And most deaf girls and women were not able to complete high school. We were only able to get jobs cleaning homes or offices. But I was fortunate. After 2 years, I was able to start school again. When I was 16 years old, I founded the Southern Sudan Deaf Development Concern with a group of my deaf friends. We continue to provide services to the deaf community. And we advocate for deaf rights. We lobbied Parliament until they finally agreed to put the civil rights for people with disabilities into our Constitution. I also represent the women of South Sudan for Resolution 1325 on women, peace, and security. Inclusion is a very important right for women and girls like me. People forget the needs of women with disabilities. The poorest are women with disabilities. The least educated are women with disabilities. These are things that need correction. Now that my country of South Sudan is independent, we're finally free. But what's missing is the belief in the abilities of persons with disabilities. We must stand up for our rights. The next generation of women and girls need to be seen first as people, and second, as persons with disabilities. In the future, my goal is to become a lawyer. I will use my education to continue to advocate for the rights of people with disabilities all across Africa. I want to show that having a disability does not mean that life is ending. I want to thank the Women's Refugee Commission for this distinguished award. The work that they do to help refugees with disabilities fight for their rights and use their voices to stand up for inclusion, it's critical to the future of women everywhere like me. I'd like to dedicate this award to the women and girls with disabilities in my home country, South Sudan. These women have the capacity to influence the development of our new country. And my dream is to become the first female member of parliament in Africa who is deaf. May God bless us all as He shows us the way. We will never, ever give up. Thank you. Oh, thank you. And now I'd like to share a poem with you. Oh, thank you. I'd like to share a poem with you. Okay, my poem. if you see women, girls with disabilities around the world, what can you do to help these women? These women and girls around the world, because these women and girls with disabilities living in refugee camps suffer. And where is the support? Where is the education for the women and girls with disabilities? Thank you.